choose an estimate for 120 degrees in radians. Okay, so does anybody remember the conversion with degrees and radians? 180 degrees is the same as pi radians. 1 pi. So maybe, you know what I'm going to do? I'm probably just going to throw that on my cheat sheet as well, right with that. A pi radian is the same as 180 degrees. Okay, so all I'm doing is going to do that, cross multiply. Okay, so choose the best estimate for the central angle in radians. So the central angle, it's marked like this. So how big is that? Well, I'm going to go in degrees because my brain works like that. So this is 90. This is 180. The next up here would be 270. Okay, so if this is 180 and this is 270, what are you thinking? 200 and what? Do you want to say? 240? So I'm trying to estimate, so hopefully one of them looks close. So if I'm thinking that's about 240, how many radians would that be? So 180 is the same as a pi. So then it looks like 4.2 would be closest. Okay, determine if this is an exponential function or not and say why. Anybody want to say a yes or a no? No is the answer. And what does exponential mean and why is it a no then?
Well, it'll either always double or triple or...
So same multiplier.
Yeah.
Same multiplier. Okay, so here to here I multiplied by 10. Here to here I've multiplied by 10. It's here to here I've multiplied by 10. So it's been going good, and then what happened?
Multiplied by 2.
Multiplied by 2, and then I multiplied by 2.5. So not the same multiplier. Okay? That's an exponential function, right? You're always, this b, your base, is your multiplier. You always have to multiply by it, multiply by it, multiply by it. Without even graphing, what is the y-intercept of this graph? 5. 5 is where you start, okay, and then you move after that. Is this exponential function? Would it be increasing or decreasing, and how do you know? Decreasing because this base is less than 1. Remember that? We just wrote that on our cheat sheet. So I already know it's going to be at 5, and then it's going to decrease. Okay, so we were given a function The number of bees in a colony is modeled by this, where this ND represents the number of bees and D is the number of days. So if I'm on a chart, which one goes horizontally on a graph? The days. So then this one would be the bees. Some of you really needed to understand that to help you with the problems. Make sure you know what's going on. Okay, let's go y equals. So make sure when you're just doing any equation, you don't have plots activated, right? You just want y equals 120, 1.15 to the x. This is growing, because 1.15, that's growing. And this is my y-intercept, 120. I already can see 120, and then my bees are growing, right? Okay, so what do you want when you go to your window then? X is days. What should we do? Just -5 to 10. Y is your number of bees. What do you want to go up to for bees? 120 was already there. So then I'm going to go to 400. Bless you. Okay. Now, how many bees should we expect after a week? So what did I give you? Did I give you an X or did I give you a Y? I gave you an X. Okay, but be careful here. X is the number of days. So if I say a week, what are you going to do? 7. And then you're going to do what in your calculator? What's your work here? Trace 7. That's the work. Show me your work. Trace 7. That's your work. Trace 7 equals? I would assume we can do that as a whole number instead of a decimal, because you're not going to do a partial b. I'm hoping that they give better, like, really good instructions in that, like, round to the nearest whole number, maybe at the end. I'm hoping. I don't know what to expect. I mean, with that, B's, I would say you should be going to whole numbers, right? Okay, determine the midline. So I kind of always say, well, 12 is the top. -4 is the bottom. That helps me figure out what is the midline. What would be halfway in there?
4.
Y equals 4. Determine the amplitude. So again, I kind of write myself little side notes. There's an 8 there. There's a -2 there. I always think, well, what's in the middle? Three is in the middle. So therefore, what is the amplitude? Did you write 5? Somebody else could have just done this. From the top to the bottom is how much as a move? 10. So then half of that, right? Determine the period of the following function. So what do you want to do here? Do you want to do like a top to a top, bottom to a bottom? What makes more sense to you?
Well, the top starts at 0, so that kind of makes sense.
Okay, so if I do top to top, what number would be there? 300 degrees would be right there. So if you go from 0 degrees to 300 degrees, how much space is that? 300. Determine the range. So range is low to high. So -6 is the lowest height up to 4, and that's what I'd look for. You can write that. I'm assuming if they write something and you have to recognize it, they would make it look like this. That's probably what theirs would look like. So all of a sudden, if you see this written, what does it really mean? That's the same thing. So this tells me a sinusoidal has a max there and a mid there. Determine the amplitude. So middle of the graph is at -12. The maximum is at this point. But what do I only really care about in that point? The height. The highest height, the middle height, and you know what, that's it. I don't really even care about the low, but I just want the amplitude, right? So sinusoidal graphs are really all about heights. Max height, middle height, low height. Max height, right? 15? Okay, so number 12, again, I kind of just sketch this out for my brain. I'm always talking about max, middle, and low, high, mid, low. Okay, this tells me an amplitude of 9. So I know the amplitude is 9. And I know the middle is -2. So I need you to, from -2, I need you to go above by 9. What do you get to if you go up 9 from that? 7? And then reset from -2, what's 9 lower? Okay, so let's practice some graphing this. Okay, so when I see this and I need to graph it, would anybody tell me what mode you should be in when you see this? This would be radians. What if you saw number 14? This one would be, you would want to be in a degree mode there. So let's practice some graphing. Just to make sure that you kind of know what you're doing when you graph. What do you do if you want to just reset your whole thing? Remember the button that resets it just to the basics?
Zoom 6.
Zoom 6. Okay, mine does not look good. I'm going to only do from negative, I don't know, 3 to 3. Not good. I'm gonna go from negative 1 to 1. Oh, I'm on the wrong axis here, guys. That's why. I wanted to do my Y's and I was trying to change my X's.
Mine does not look like that. Maybe I typed it wrong.
Did you do 2/5 in a bracket?
No, that's the issue.
Maybe that's the issue. You double checked your mode?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to do to find the amplitude?
Find the minimum and find the maximum.
I would find a minimum and a maximum, and then we can figure some stuff out. Okay, so what's the min and what's a max? Can you work on figuring out how to do that feature in your calculator? Do you remember? Second trace. I'm only worried about the heights. I think that's negative 0.4. Yeah. So I got the amplitude, which was 0.4. You know what that is also? The multiplier in the front. Okay, we're gonna do one more. I don't need to do both of these. Let's just pick one of them. Anybody have a preference? They're both very similar. Just number 14. Okay, so can you graph me number 14? And then we talked about, we actually switched to degree mode because there was 180 degrees in the equation. You need a double bracket.
Can I see what you're doing?
I'd like a double bracket, like 4 bracket, and then bracket, bracket. Okay, so X is in degrees this time. Radians are small, like 3.14, but degrees, think of degrees, like 360. So I'm going to go to my window, and now my x is degrees, so should we go a bit higher, like 500 or something? I guess I maybe didn't need to go that crazy, but okay, I'm actually not going to do that crazy, but now I can kind of see it. Maybe I'm going to do like 300. Okay, so did you understand my brain saying degrees? Change my x-axis to big, because degrees are like 360. That's bigger than little radians.
What? It's just going crazy. Mine shows that at 1. My x is 1, and it shows.
Are you in radians?
I'm in degree mode.
Degree mode, yeah.
And I typed everything in right.
You got a double bracket with the 4.
Yep.
Exactly like this.
Yep.
What do you got? Windows, I did 300 on X.
Okay.
And then Y's, I did to 15. I changed that one, but.
No, yeah, mine it looks horrible.
Oy. Oh, that. Is this a baby negative?
Oh, might be.
Baby negative, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
there you go.
Okay.
Does that fix it? Okay, we figured it out. Baby negatives. Catcha. Okay, what are we? Let's do. This one says, what's the mid? Let's do all the information. Let's do amplitude. Let's do period. Okay. Does anybody know what the max height is on this by any chance? My pre-calcers, you shouldn't even need your calculator. You should know these. Don't remember? 12? What's the low height?
-8.
-8. Middle would be a 2. Guess where I got all those numbers from without even trying in my calculator, actually. Middle was 2. Amplitude is 10. So you can see I was 10 above and 10 below. So mid is 2, amplitude is 10. So let's go with a period. So we can go, what do you want to do? Doesn't matter. You have to figure out a period for me. So you can calculate maybe the min there. Okay, so on my calculator, I figured out mins, and then I figured out the space between them was 90 degrees. Okay, I personally wouldn't have done that. I would have remembered a formula. How do you get a period? 2 pi over b. And this is a degrees question, so instead of 2 pi could also be 360 degrees. What is the b value in this equation? Which one is the b? The 4 is a b. So 360 degrees divided by 4 is 90. But you got your calculator as well. Okay, let's just do this last question, 17, and then we'll do a little bit more on our cheat sheet. Okay, so this is a sinusoidal. So when I'm looking at it, I'm basically always going high, medium, low, medium, right? So if I look, this would be a high. This looks like a medium. This would be my low, medium, high, medium. So there's the pattern, right? High, middle, low, middle, high, middle. Got a pattern? So what do you need after that one? A low, right?